Welcome to our Agile Austin Leaders SIG on September 5th, 2025. And folks, we are part of the larger Agile Austin organization, a nonprofit that is focused on connecting, collaborating, and growing people. I will go through a few slides here for the intro before we hand over to our guest speaker for today, Woody. Yay, and that's the mission statement and some other of the info we have. As I was saying to some people previously, put in the chat where you're joining from, greetings, a link to, your LinkedIn profile. Do you have job opportunities in your company? Are you searching for something? Just chat whatever you want to chat. Max Akesi here. I've been in Austin. I'm in Austin. I've been in Austin since 2001. I have grown along with this city. A year and a half ago, I started my own company. I'm founder and CEO at Carpe Diem Technology Services. And I just said just a little while ago, I have been the facilitator of the Leaders SIG, the special interest group, this one here, for 15 years. We started in 2010. And it's been an awesome experience. What we do here is we bring in guest speakers that we talk about topics regarding leading transformations, leading agile transformations. So that's what we talk about. And that can happen in a variety of ways. So we learn, we grow, we share, and we take it from there. Okay. And the whole thing that we do is that we actually evolve with the times. I can just give a quick example of our first meetings in 2010, 2011. We were talking about how can we help people understand certain aspects of Scrum. For example, we're having to estimate and story points. Oh, had too many meetings on that. And now we're talking about a lot of product-centric stuff, how to do stuff from an AI perspective, how to talk about empowering high-performance teams. It's just interesting how a lot of things have changed, but we're still at the core. We are about agility. I'm going to go through some slides very quickly. We have a new board. I was president of Agile Austin for 4 years. My term ended in July, but we got Sid as president, Lonnie as vice president, Alexandra as chief product person. Ben Rogers, he's here. He's still on there as CTO from the past. And also Jenny as our treasurer. Like, this is top quality folks. They're a blast. And I'm still involved in things as director of sponsorship because I just couldn't go away. I just had to stay involved somehow. Folks, we have a lot of perks that we're putting out there for our members, scholarships, discounts on events all the time. So if you're interested, I always tell people, just check out our site. We've got like a site that has all the information. I just put it in the chat. Check it out there for membership, $35 a year. And, have any questions about that, ping me. Sponsorship opportunities also for various companies. Please just go on the site and get some more information. We are a nonprofit organization, but we do a lot in the Agile community, a lot. Shout out to our sponsors. I just want to put their links here in the chat just for folks to just check them out some more. But we couldn't do it without our sponsors, so it's just great to have them. Agile Velocity has been our sponsor for years. They're a platinum sponsor. Resumex is our gold sponsor, was also our sponsor at our CA conference that happened back in April. And silver sponsor Ad Meliora. Yes, that's it's Erin she's still our sponsor too. Thank you, sponsors. Take a picture of this code if you're interested in getting a discount on various classes that the Agile Velocity group shares. Okay, take a picture on this. Folks, I am just going to put another few links here in the chat. We as an organization have anywhere between 4 to 8 virtual meetings every month. Every month. We have the different SIGs that focus on scaled, like agility, leader SIG like this one, coaching SIG, lean Kanban, a book club. We've got a book club that has been going on for years now. And so I just tell people, go to our meetup and subscribe. It's free. You get all the notifications, all free. And then we put all our content on our YouTube channel. Okay, we've got hundreds of recordings of all our sessions on the YouTube channel. Great stuff. Subscribe. Just subscribe. It's all free. All right. We love to put content out there as much as possible because we are a knowledge sharing organization. That's what we are. Right. Anybody's always interested in volunteering. All you have to do, we have a website on our website, and there are ways just to contact us. Always happy to have folks on. Okay. Today, the speaker for today, Woody, is going to introduce himself. So we'll skip that. I had to share our September 20th AI training class. We've only got a few spots left. We've got like 23 people signed up, and it's just phenomenal. It's the first time we do an AI hands-on in-person workshop in Austin, Saturday, September 20th. If you want more information on this, it's on our website, okay? And then David is awesome. He teaches at the University of Texas campus here in Austin, and he's going to be there to do some really from idea to prototype Gen AI stuff. Super excited about this. October 3rd, we will have Rick here, and we're going to have a podcast-like discussion about the importance of psychological safety connected to delivering customer value, because that's what it's all about at the end, delivering customer value. So I'm done talking for today. And as I stop sharing and hand over, as host, to our guest speaker for today, I would like to ask everybody, can we do a Brady-like picture? That will mean that you'll have to turn on your actual camera, okay? Turn on your camera if you can. Da-da-da. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. Let's keep on doing. I see Jenny. I see Matt from Seattle. Tanya, I see you. Ben, yeah. Smile for a change, Ben. Smile for a change. There you go.
Don't make me put that background of you on.
No, don't put the background of a picture of me. No, please don't do that. Okay. All right, folks. All right. Act as if you're having fun in 3, 2, 1. I got you. I got you. I got the thumbs up and stuff. All right. So, folks, let's welcome here Woody, the process mechanic. Take it on from here. Thank you, Woody. You are host right now. Okay, Woody?
I am. Okay. So everybody, I just dropped a link to a Miro board in the chat. Hopefully you all can access it. If somebody's on mobile, I apologize. This might get a little difficult, but we are going to use that for 3 brainstorming sessions during our presentation or case study here. I have to figure out which screen to go to, which I'm going to do. And you should see that Miro board now. And in a minute, you are going to see, and I apologize, a slide deck. Yes, a slide deck.
Mm-hmm. So I don't see anything yet. Hey, Woody?
Let me push the share.
I'm seeing something show up. I see flames. I see flames. Yes.
It's always helpful to push the share button.
Yeah.
Hang on just a second. Let me get set here. Okay, we took care of that. My name is Robert Woodcock. My friends call me Woody. I am the process mechanic. I serve CEOs and development leaders at small and medium businesses that are trying to scale and they're building or developing technical products. Typically, I help them to improve their processes. And a lot of the time what they're running into, or the first thing they see, is they start missing delivery dates. But then they also notice expenses are increasing. Maybe they have crushing tech debt. Maybe they're getting rising customer complaints. And maybe the mood or the health of the organization and the people in it is starting to deteriorate, the morale. And they're noticing things like their best developer is bailing ship or bailing out. So who am I and why should you care? I've improved team performance by more than 30% with a third of the people, saved over 15 million in expenses through operational improvements, increased revenue by 6 times, yes, through a process improvement. So let's get started. First of all, you guys need to understand some context. This case study is about a cloud team that I worked with at a very huge telecommunications company. The product that they were developing was the technology to connect all of your in-home devices for the purpose of home security. So there was hardware, firmware, middleware, and mobile involved, and there were over a million users on the mobile app. The cloud development team themselves was building microservices and APIs in AWS. There were a total of 15 developers. 7 were in the US, 8 were in India. And of those 15, 3 were QA engineers and split between the 2 locations. Another fun fact is that they had a new software engineering manager who had never managed a team and was a principal engineer previously. All right, sorry for the extra click here. Quick survey. Does everybody, if you don't understand or haven't heard of what a balanced scorecard is, please raise your hand in chat. And if we get one, Max, I can cover it real quick.
If it doesn't take too long, please do. I'm sure that someone besides me also, because I don't.
So back in 2002, Kaplan and Norton detailed out what was a balanced scorecard in the Harvard Business Review. It's got 4 main elements. One is customer satisfaction. One is financials. I like to call that company satisfaction. Another is organizational health. And the 4th element is for internal processes. And that's what we're going to focus on today. This is what it might look like today. There's lots of customer satisfaction metrics. Yeah, they're qualitative around, but there are. Companies have been measuring financial metrics for years. There's a spider diagram. I think this was from a team happiness survey down on the lower left. And if you look at the lower right, it's the internal process stuff. So introducing the adaptability scorecard. It too is balanced. And there's 5 essential reports. 2 of them, one of them is a requirements readiness ratio. Another is a defects reported rate. If we have a little extra time at the end, we might be able to take a peek at those. But today we're going to focus on predictability, the predictability ratio and activity report, as well as productivity metrics of cycle time and a little bit of a different twist on work in process or work in progress. Who are these reports for? Well, they offer compelling insights to executives regarding when a product release or outcome is likely to be available to customers. That helps to enable planning of other release activities like marketing campaigns. It also conveys critical information to development leaders, teams, and teams of teams as far as improving their processes. It helps to visualize results. And being a balanced scorecard, you don't want to make a process improvement to one area and have it negatively affect something else. For instance, if a team is trying to go too fast, then you might see defects go up. I will give everybody a warning. These are all based on points and should never, ever, ever be used evaluate somebody's individual performance. You might be saying, well, why is that? They're based on estimations. Each team estimates differently. And if you consider that lead engineers typically spend a lot of time in meetings, they're usually only half as productive as the other people on the team. So what's the exercise we're going to do? I'm going to show you a before graph and explain the metric in the report. Then using those reports, you are going to go to Miro and brainstorm individually on what you think the problems are. We'll review your results versus the actual, and I will show you the after. Any questions? All right, here we go.
But I do want to say that Matt made a very good comment. These are good metrics to give insight into the work as opposed to the workers.
Yes.
Very good comment.
I love that.
Matt does make good comments like a few times a year. He does.
Drop that in the chat, Matt, for us, will you?
Yeah, it's in the chat. Mhm.
Awesome.
Just get me to shut up. You know, that's the hard part. So I'm trying to limit myself to chat.
So let's take a look at the predictability ratio. All of these reports are designed so that once you understand the report, you can very quickly take a look at it at a glance and be able to tell what's going on. Here we're looking at a percentage. There's a two x-axes, percentage points on the right, the sprints are down below. And what you want to concentrate on is the predictability ratio, which is the dark green line that's erratic. And then the activity is shown in the bars below, starting from left to right. The blue is the work that was planned. The green is the work of what was planned, what was actually completed. And the orange and yellow are tickets coming in and out of sprints. Now, that's not really an issue here, but it might be for some teams. It compares so the ratio itself compares the work that's planned versus what was completed. The benefits are that it exposes impediments that could be fixed, and it helps plan sprints, quarters, and larger initiatives along with capacity planning. The goal of this is to see steady flow. So let's go to the Miro. You're going to have 3 minutes. And it's not showing on my screen, but I can see what you guys are doing.
Yeah, I mean, we see, the Miro on your screen. Yeah, the way you're sharing it. Yeah.
Okay. So please go to the Miro, focus on the yellow stickies, which is the predictability brainstorm. And just write your ideas in. You've got 3 minutes.
And you want us to write the ideas on that slide you just shared, right? The
Yes,
predictability and
on the predictability ratio in the frame, the white frame.
Mhm.
This is supposed to be interactive. Anybody? Everybody?
I
Jump in
actually
here.
don't have access. I requested access.
Yeah, same.
Same for me. Why is it not working?
Oh, that's interesting because I didn't need it, but I clicked on it half an hour ago. Does everybody need like access to it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
I'm trying to figure out how to do that, and it's not.
Can you make it a public board? It says it's a private board.
This is a free account, so.
How'd you make it a public board? This person had. Because I was able to join before.
Yeah, that's weird.
Let me see the link you sent to me, and let me see if.
On a free account, is there a limit?
Well, I copied the link that's up here in the URL.
Mhm.
Maybe that's different. Maybe we need to use a different link.
Yes. Here, folks, try to go to this link that I just put in the chat. Try to see if you can get into it via that link I put in the chat just now.
Okay, I see people getting in. I apologize profusely for the misleading link.
No, but thank you. Can we say Max has added value today?
We
Can
can
we say
say
that?
Max has added some value, yes. Good job, Max.
I'll take that.
Okay, let's start the clock now. Because I don't want to penalize people for my mistake, my responsibility. And you guys want to focus on the yellow stickies on the white background. What are you looking at, Jenny?
Woody, could you repeat the instruction?
Just brainstorm on what you think was going on with the predictability ratio and activity report. And I am going to go back into share mode so you can, if you've got two screens, you can see that up on your screen.
There you go. Yeah. So people can take, and like we do see it now. So people take a look at this report here, just the one pager, and just share your quick feedback on what stands out. There was one specific thing that stood out to me at first, right? That I'm like,
And these
yeah.
are story points. I'm trying to figure out how do story points, how do you predict with story points? It's like, oh, these are sprints.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
They're sprints.
Oh, so we predicted we get this many story points done, but we only got so many other story points done. And then some were added, some were moved. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, like there's
This-
committed, blue, completed,
Right.
is that green, and then the added and the removed and all that stuff. Yeah, after that.
Yep.
So a little bit on why story points and not number of stories. This team had stories that were pointed at anywhere from 1 to 5 and sometimes even 8 points. And they varied in terms of difficulty. So the team was very consistent at this point in time for sizing stories using relative sizing technique. Which, Max, if you ever want to revisit that, I'm happy to do that as a presentation as well.
Okay, we're at 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
Okay, you guys got 45 seconds, and then we're gonna move on to the next one. But we'll come back to the presentation, the graph, so I can explain it and explain a little bit about it for cycle time. And then you guys can go back and brainstorm for 3 minutes.
And 5, 4. Time's up.
All right, let's move on to cycle time. Many of you may have seen a graph that looks like this in the past. It's not very uncommon. Here we're measuring how long a ticket takes from start to finish, right? A user story, a bug, a task, whatever it is. The gray bars indicate the average, and it's based on when the ticket was closed for tickets that were closed in that sprint. The dashed blue line indicates the running average, and the light blue line is a median. Cycle time and work in process or progress are key productivity metrics. So this is the cycle time. The benefits are that they expose impediments that could be fixed, help to identify roadblocks that keep developers from doing what they love to do, in this case, write code, solve problems. It exposes opportunities to reduce waste and therefore cost. And they can help teams achieve a highly sustainable, steady flow of value and delivery to customers. Both are very quantifiable, even though they're estimated. And on both of these, the lower is the better. Right? So we want to see it go lower instead of higher.
And just a quick clarification, are we taking for granted that the tickets, all tickets are about the same size?
No.
Because cycle time. And this is the number of tickets. So I asked that because stories that something the story point 1 would get done faster than
Right.
story point 5.
And there was a mix of 1, 2s, and so forth on average.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, all right, time to go to the Miro and focus on the white that has the blue stickies. You guys are already on it. Good job.
You put the graph back.
I will do that in just a moment. Move this over here. There you go.
Thank you. Hey Woody, this was Scrum with or incremental development, either way.
Yes, 2-week sprints.
2 week sprints. Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
And this is so okay, trend. Is the trend the average? Or it's the trend based on the numbers. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, it's based on the numbers and it shows whether or not cycle time is coming down or going up.
Yeah, cool.
How are we doing on time, Max?
We have 1 minute and 15 seconds left. Whoa, we're getting a lot of comments from the folks that are commenting. All right.
Is everybody done or are you still working? Because if you're done, we can move on in the interest of time.
In the interest of time. 30 seconds left, but yeah, okay.
If you're not done, raise your hand in Zoom.
Just to share a quick comment, Jay Paulson said in the chat, I typically don't focus on story points. What do you focus on? Maybe Jay. Well, I don't know if you want to go into the conversation now. Hey, Woody.
I mean, I could go all day on this. So
Yeah, I probably could too. Maybe we should connect and talk about it offline, but generally speaking, one of the things that's in my background is I'm a Lean Six Sigma black belt, and poo-poo that as you may, one of the best things that I learned from Lean Six Sigma is about statistics. And one of the best things to do is get to the lowest level of data and then aggregate up. So focusing on just stories, when stories can vary generally between 1, 2, 3, or 5 points, is not really effective, even with the law of large averages. This gives
I don't typically look at averages, and I don't look at story points. The things that I introduce is throughput. That's what I introduce, right?
This was very effective to take a team that was extremely unpredictable with a 35 to 50% all over the place predictability, and help them 82% predictable and increase their productivity dramatically. And you'll understand a little bit more as we go through it. Are we ready for the next slide, Max?
Yeah. But Jay, thanks for that feedback.
Yep. Yeah. Thank you. Good point, and I'm glad you brought it up. All right, so let's check out the historical look at work in progress. So this isn't work that's actually going on, it's work that happened previously in each sprint. And it's for every process that happens between start and finish. Now, one thing you guys should know, there's 4 lines represented here. When I started with this team, they had like 10 columns. And one of the things that we did is we got rid of the column for blocked, because it was way too easy for somebody to move a ticket into block just by sliding the card over. When I showed them that they could do a little checkbox in the ticket that said it was, experiencing an impediment, it turned the card yellow, and it was very apparent as to what was blocked on the board. So nothing lost there necessarily. This also includes, the measurement includes waiting time or delays that occur during each process. And it looks at processes that impact the team from inside itself as well as being affected by problems from outside the team. The goal here is steady, lower is better, trending down is good. But as I mentioned before, there's a caution. Not too low, because if a team is trying to go too fast, they might be creating defects, for instance. So what is the problem here? Please go to the Miro. I will leave the graph up. You're working on the frame with the green stickies at this point.
And I've started the time. One minute. 2 minutes.
We need some Jeopardy music, Max.
This is the most silence I've experienced all week long.
Come on, let's be realistic. Who was making the noise?
I'll confess I do speak to myself occasionally.
Well, we are our own best friends.
Exactly.
Okay, if you're done, raise your hand in the chat.
And 5, 4, 3.
Or not. All right, here we go. I need to move something around here a little bit. Give me a minute. Okay. So let's take a look at the Miro. Give me half a second here because I'm gonna use this cool little summary feature that Miro has in it.
AI at work. That is pretty cool.
I don't know about you guys, but I can't really read this. But we're going to start with the predictability challenges that you guys came up with and kind of do a relatively simple review of what those are. Let me get my eyes checked. Okay, key issues include carryover work, overcommitment, team changes. That's a good one. Technical debt, large releases, observations from retrospectives, ongoing issues with commitment and delivery. There's a need for more data points. Recommendations. This is what Miro came up with, I think. Quickly identify and discuss impediments, focus on reducing carryover work, monitor team changes, evaluate commitment levels. Well,
So is that based on what the tickets were? Is that a summary of the tickets?
yes.
Because I thought I saw that there before already. Interesting.
Yeah. So I'm gonna sort of slide this over and then we'll bring it back again. But here's the original. That's what you said. So what happened? You're right. The predictability ratio, some people in the Agile community call it a planned to done ratio, but companies have been using a predictability ratio, so it's a little bit more generic. Somebody just wanted to come up with a different name. But it definitely shows inconsistent performance. There were definitely some planning problems. There were definitely some communication issues. For instance, there was no time to collaborate due to the 12-hour time difference with the very large team. The first thing that impacts that is that with 15 people on a team, there's over like 150 different possible channels of communication just within the developers themselves, never mind with me, adding me or the manager into it. There was definitely a lack of understanding of what problems could happen, what the problems were to solve in the requirements of the user stories. And it left them scrambling for work during an iteration. For instance, the refinement sessions were held Friday in Austin at 9 a.m. Central Time. The people in India, it's 9 p.m. their time on a Friday night. 15 people on a call, 2.5 hours. We were lucky to get 3 user stories to where everybody understood what it was. And people were dropping off the call like flies after 2 hours. We did this once a week, 2-week sprints. We had a total of 6 user stories that everybody went into the sprint with that they understood. For a team of 15, they could have easily handled 30 tickets apiece, or not 30 tickets apiece, but 30 tickets as a team. It was a problem. So what happened when tickets went into a sprint that nobody understood is that somebody, you know, would start working on it on a Monday. An hour or two in, they go, oh, I'm dependent on some work that the firmware team is doing. I'm dependent on this other ticket in the backlog or something like that. And it would stop because the firmware team was in a different division in a different part of the company with different objectives, even though they sat right across them. It was ridiculous. And so the developers would go and look for something else that they could do. And they'd hit another ticket with one of the same situations, and maybe even a third one. And then they'd start combing through the backlog, trying to figure out what the heck they could complete and do. It was crazy. There were numerous roadblocks, like the dependency that I just mentioned, lots of task switching, frequent interruptions from defects and rework. Although I will say that the defects and their technical debt backlog was really not that bad, but the documentation, right? Working software over documentation, but the documentation really wasn't there. It wasn't happening from previous work. All of this led to a team that was extremely frustrated. Their morale was horrible, and it was a waste of costly resources. Here we see a completely different story. The team cranks out 82% of the planned work. So one of the things that happened in the before picture, that is right after the team in India found themselves a manager. They were lumped in with the other team because they had lost their manager and the company didn't have a ready replacement. And nobody on the team they felt would be able to stand up and be the manager. So they lumped them in. Now they split them out. There are a couple people during a riff that got, that got let go. So now the team is 5 people, but within a month or two, really short, and this is after about a year and a half of struggling, those 5 people started doing what you're seeing on this second graph. They were doing 30% more work, more value, more throughput, more output, more outcomes than the original team of 15 people. And they could crank out an average of 82% per sprint. And they did this for a total of a year and a half. So over 6 quarters.
And like Woody,
yes, sir.
Those 5 people were co-located, or
yes. Yeah, yeah, they were all co-located in the Austin office.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hang on a second. So let's see. I think I covered the requirements story pretty well. Now they had, so with the requirements process on the larger team, we started doing pre-refinement sessions with the product owner, an architect, and 2 lead engineers, so that they could get a look at tickets before the rest of the team looked at them, anticipate some of the team's questions, think about possible ways to how to solve it, and those kind of things. So we were able to get them up to a total of 20 tickets for a team of 30. For a team of 15 in a period of 2 weeks, which really improved things and started to create some flow. Another problem is that an engineer in the US and here in Austin would finish a ticket at the end of the day, put it in test, and then somebody from the engineering QA would try to pick it up the next day, but they had no idea how to set up for the test, what to test, what other components were going to potentially be affected that they needed to check. So they sat around all day waiting until 9 p.m. their time to be able to talk to the engineer. So we did something very simple. And this was actually Aishwarya's idea. She was here in the US and she was the lead QA engineer. She said, we need test data. So we ended up putting a field in every JIRA ticket that was required for developers to put information in. as to what the approach of the test was. And the result of that, testing tickets went from an average of 3 days to less than 24 hours. And oh, by the way, that 24 hours included one bug fix. Right? We figured out a way to take advantage of the clock. Sorry, I'm jumping all over the place here. We also dramatically improved planning. I think somebody put that on the Miro. Started getting a better understanding of capacity and what each person could do, taking into account holidays, days out of the office, going to conferences, stuff like that. The only thing that's really hard to predict is when somebody's going to be out sick. Are there any questions? If so, put your hand up, Max. If not, we'll move on to the next one.
Don't see any questions on the chat.
Okay.
Just a quick time check, 13 minutes left.
Yep. So these next couple are going to go pretty quick. So the before was 8 days. Let's take a look at some of the things here. Cycle time consistency, potential causes for extended cycle time, work size, blockers and dependencies, ding, ding, ding. Assignment of stories. That actually was not an issue. Further investigation, longer cycle time, story resizing, normalizing stuff. The team was pretty good at this point about breaking stories down if they were too big or too complicated, or if we didn't really understand what the story was about. You know, we tried to avoid creating spikes, but you know, sometimes a spike was necessary. Whoops. Okay, here's the after picture. You can see that the average cycle time went from 8 days down to about 4. And it's still declining a little bit. Roadblocks was one of the things that was taken care of. So yes, work came to a screeching halt. I started to facilitate collaboration between developers across teams. I was encouraging the developers in the cloud team to get up and go talk to the mobile developers, go talk to the cloud developers. Because if you put somebody like me in the middle of it that's not writing code, they're never going to believe anything that I say. And there was something that was cool, other than reducing work, stalling in a sprint, which went almost to 0. The cloud developers and the other developers started to get a really good idea about very good knowledge about how this complicated system was put together. From, you know, cloud touches firmware, cloud touches mobile, and all that kind of thing. And then they started to anticipate where the dependencies were before the ticket ever got into refinement. It was pretty cool. Any questions, Max?
Sorry, I had to get off mute.
That's okay.
No questions coming through in the chat. If anybody wants to go off mute for a quick second.
I got a question. So what was the increase in throughput? Because throughput is what finance would really like to see, because that means you're delivering more value.
So it was 30% using 5 developers instead of 15. So it's a difference annually of about $1 million a year.
So 30% of a team of 15?
Yes.
And so what was their baseline throughput?
I'll be honest with you, it was about 45 points a sprint for a team.
Well, no, because finance won't care about points. So the throughput is the number of tickets, right? And so if you're claiming you have 30% more throughput, you know, if they do 100 tickets, that means they can do 30 more tickets. You know, say it's a quarter, right? And you can directly put that on the bottom line and communicate that out to your finance department, and they'll love it.
So I haven't sat down and done that calculation, but it was probably close to about 12 tickets, 15 tickets a sprint. And the 5 developers could do 60 points, or about 30 tickets a sprint.
So you double throughput.
Yeah, it wasn't double. It was probably about 18 or 20.
Okay.
Again, I'm just trying to calculate it in my head.
Yeah, because that's why I focus on throughput, right? I don't worry about points because finance doesn't care about that. They care about delivered value, and if you can put the number of tickets in numbers and impact to the company, you know, that way they can hold leadership accountable for any changes in throughput. So, like for example, if leadership changes and new leadership comes in and throughput tanks, finance can say, "Why did you tank our throughput? What did you do?"
Yeah, I was working on something really more along. It's a good point. Is this
Yeah,
Jay
it is.
again?
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's your
Yeah.
name.
Thank you, Jay.
Let's move on just in the interest
sure.
of time.
Yeah.
This was the work in process. Let me see if I can find the mural board again. Goodness. Sorry, it took me a minute. Challenges in acceptance. Yes. Lengthy acceptance duration, inconsistency, dependency issues. Yes, again, we talked about dependencies and a high work in progress. So all of those are correct. So this blue line is for in progress, the red line is acceptance, the light blue line is for reviews, and the green line is for test. Get back to my buttons. And you can see it went from an average of about 6 or 7 per process to an average of about 3, and the acceptance process was removed. So this new manager had put in a process where he wanted to review tickets, code, and documentation before anything was approved and moved to it's ready to go to production. And he would do that the day before we would start a sprint. 30% of the time, he didn't like the documentation or something else, and he would reject it. It was a blocking, gating process, which we all know and love and hate at the same time. I don't know, did we, yeah, so the light blue line for review, whoops. So reviews peaked at about 5 days here, and they went up dramatically all of a sudden. I noticed it on the graph, otherwise I may not have noticed it, especially if nobody spoke up. Brought it up in a retrospective, and as a result, the team came up with some new team agreements, not by me, by the team, that on average, a ticket would be reviewed by 2 peers within 24 hours. And if it was something that was difficult, they give it 48 hours for that review, but somebody had to identify that it was going to be a difficult review early in the sprint so that other people on the team were expecting it. And strangely, in that same retrospective, Aishwarya spoke up very loudly. We had been doing enough problem solving at this point, and she was complaining about how she was frustrated. She had no tickets to validate for the first 8 days of the sprint, and then they all came in all at once. And she was frustrated. So we came up with, discussed different options, and we came up with a new team agreement where team members would identify work that would be difficult to test early on. We would coordinate to get some of the less difficult requirements done earlier, and the team would jump in to help validate others' work at the end of an iteration. Usually there was like 1 or 2 developers that finished a day or 2 early. And that's how we got down to here. So now we had a team of 5 developers. They were co-located. We all collaborated on and understood the requirements. There was consistent roadblocks, very infrequent roadblocks, consistent performance, very infrequent roadblocks. The number of defects reported per week dropped from 3.5 to 0.5, and there was 0 turnover in those 6 quarters and a very high morale. I am the process mechanic, and that is my story. And I'm going to flash through these real quick because they're very simple graphs. This is what the readiness ratio looks like. The goal is to have 3 sprints of pointed work that's understood by everybody on the team. And in that year and a half, every single time, the day before we were going to start a sprint, it was at 100%. When they started was that huge number at 198. It was because they had items in their backlog that were pointed, that hadn't been looked at in over 24 months. It was nuts. And then real quick, the defects reported over time. You can see here, this isn't horrible. This is by week. Just the raw number of defects reported. So it's an average of about probably 3.5 here. And it went down to an average of less than half a defect a week. Any questions, Max?
I don't see any questions in the chat. When you said that there were tickets or stories there that have been there for 24 months, is like 2 years. Yeah, I've seen that happen. Stuff just lingers around forever, for years. Yes, yes.
If anybody's interested, I'm surprised.
We do have the wheel of names if you want to.
So you can connect with me on LinkedIn. You can write me an email at robert@theprocessmechanic.com or go visit me at theprocessmechanic.com. So I'm going to stop sharing.
Woo,
Max,
thank you, Woody. Round of applause for Woody and everything. Yes.
Would you like to tell our contestants what we're going to be giving away today?
Do you want to go ahead and share that so that people, for the next 2 minutes, we're going to do a little fun thing. Okay.
So I have been writing a book called The Process Mechanic. The nature of that book is that it's got two books. One is a novel. It's a business novel based on my experiences and real events, with the names changed to protect the innocent. It's about 150 pages. So I've done this kind of in the style of Patrick Lencioni, if anybody has ever read 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. And then it comes with a companion book. It's not really a workbook, but it's an explanation of the reports, who they're for, how to interpret the different reports, and so forth. And I split that out because I wanted to print it in color, and it was a lot cheaper to print a 50-page book in color than 200 pages in color, when 150 really didn't need it. So what we're spinning for is, and you'll have to provide an address.
If you win.
If you win.
Don't get ahead of yourself.
Is to receive both books at no charge. And if you want, I can sign it. If not, that's okay too.
Woohoo.
Okay.
Are we ready for the wheel of names? We spin it. Are we ready? I can hear everybody shouting, spin the wheel, spin the wheel. Okay, clicking on it, folks. Let's do it. You see it spinning, right? Do you see it? Or there's a delayed reaction? I don't know. And it's going to end on almost Jenny, but it's Laura. There are 2 Lauras. There's Laura Lopez and there's just Laura. So it is Laura. Congratulations, Laura.
Thank
Laura,
you.
please drop your contact information into the chat, or if you don't want to do that, you can.
Yeah, or direct to
direct to me either at Robert
in the chat
mechanic.com or DM.
All right. Since Laura cannot win twice, we'll take you out for this one.
Thank you.
There you go. And we're going to spin the wheel one more time. Alrighty. Are we ready? And we're spinning, folks. Another winner here. We have, hold on. Marina, way to go.
Holy cow.
You like to read books, right? You like to read books.
Max, were you here during like our online and in-person Agile Austin meetings before 2020?
No, I was not.
Before we locked down? Because I was like on a streak where I won like 5 books. And I actually had to I actually stepped back and said, folks, I am giving this back and please give it to someone else.
You're back on a streak now, Marie. You're back on a streak now. Way to go. Okay, please for
Thank
you
you.
folks that want, get your address to Woody. Okay, stay on and just chat it to him. Everybody else, thank you for joining. Okay, just so that you folks are aware, we actually got a picture of everybody there smiling. You see it. Don't worry, we're not going to go viral and post it on the LinkedIn or Facebook. We're just going to put it on the meetup when we put the information of the YouTube link, the recording.